Hello and welcome. Hope everyone's doing alright and had a good Christmas and New Year and all that. Mine was all good. Yeah, just that time of the month for a walk around, see how we're doing. It's been pretty mild, just rained for what feels like 40 days and 40 nights, and we're due a little bit of cold now, and that's going to time in with me just going round. You can see it all down there, a bit of it. Just going to go around, mulch it all in with manure and a bit of bone meal and ericaceous where it needs it. And then probably the next time I do a sort of tour, I would imagine a lot of the stuff will be cut back or cut down. So like those old banana leaves, the canna, the other banana over there on the right by the canna, and just all the other little scruffy bits I'll go around and tidy up. So then it all would have all been mulched and we'll be ready to rock on with the new year. So may as well start down here in Camellia Corner as the sun is shining on it quite nice. So yeah, you can see everything's all right. These Nephrolopises have kind of bounced back pretty much. What actually happened, if I come in, is the last time we sort of did a tour as such, they were all blackened off from the frost. The -2 was okay, it was the -4 that did it, blacked them all off. And then when we've had the wind, you can see it stripped all the leaves off, all the little pinnae things. So that's kind of, natural selection, if you like, because now anything that's alive has still got the leaves, has still got the green on it. So when I come to prune this, I just need to chop these little stalk things off and it should sort of be okay. But that kind of, for something that probably had no right to sort of survive outside in the frost, it's done all right. The other ones we'll see are all the same as well, apart from the odd ones, which we'll get to. But yeah, otherwise that still looks, it's still doing a job. I wouldn't call that kind of one that I couldn't use as a kind of special specimen type plant, because that's the first thing you see as you walk out the door, is that fern. But that's acceptable for me for over winter. We'll see what happens in the next couple of months though, because it's sure to get worse. So another odd thing that's happened here, if we can get down, is this is the Erythrosora, the big one. But if I just move that away, that is the Cyathea Australis, and it's actually blown over in the wind. Can you see it's all tilted over to the left at the bottom there, so it's sort of facing towards the fence. So I'll rejig that around when I'm mulching it. But the soil in this, because it was a new bed this year, if I come out to this drop to its Phoenix, hopefully you can see it's kind of soil sort of dropped an inch or two. So which is fair enough, it's all settling and had loads of rain and all that. But otherwise in here, I'm just going to take that deciduous fern out, what should have been deciduous fern, straight in the middle there above the ammonite, and then I'll probably put that bamboo fern in there, or I may put something else in there. I haven't quite decided. Otherwise for here, it's just finish off the octagon trellis in behind the bamboo, cut the bamboo socks off, or give it socks, whichever way that works, and then yeah, obviously render that when I do all the rest of them. So moving round, if we could just have a little bit of a pause for reflection for the Lophosoria. This thing has taken an absolute beating. The wind, the frost, it's not covered with anything, and it's still there and looks fantastic. Although I do walk out sometimes and thinking it's looking at me, sort of going, oh, I can't take much more of this. But you're doing well, buddy, you are doing well, so that's all good. That's the little fern that I'm going to chuck in where that Hypulpis punctata is that we just looked at. Another shout out to the giant honeysuckle. It's not dead. I really don't want to curse it, but now it's getting a bit of light to it. I'm hoping that it'll do all right. I might need to just trim the ends off because they've sort of gone black and the black is coming back down the stems, so I might trim it to the last growth point, but I'm probably worth leaving it now until the next lot of frost's gone, and hopefully it'll survive. But the bird of paradise is still doing all right there, so that's a turn up for the books. Otherwise in here, really what I'm going to do is just amend the sort of location of these a little bit, because that Nephrolepis there is a bit too close to the Lophosoria, so I might move it a bit further out, which means moving that one a bit further left, which means moving that one, and so on and so forth. But once I've chopped that canna down in the next month at the back there, and dug it up I'll do that all at the same time. Coming on to the centre bed, which I've finally made a decision on. We will discuss that in a second when we get around the loop. So I don't need to go too much into that because I went through all that on a big video the other day. But yeah, suffice to say, I'm happy with the decision that's going to be made. If we come over here, you can see the Tetrapanax leaves have all been stripped off. It's pretty brutal back here as well. It's probably the most exposed out here for cold, and then it does get a little bit of wind, not as much as the Lophosoria and the big Cyathea do, but there is a little bit of wind. So yeah, they've all been knocked off, so I will protect that. I've got a big tall bucket. I think you use it for mixing plaster in. I used it for doing self-leveling floor compound, but I'll just shove that over that for now, and then that'll just keep it all nice. Well, I won't bother wrapping it. This little Lophosoria is now in the light. The Tetrapanax leaves have gone on top of it, and you can see got some new crosias coming out. This one took a real dig last winter. It was a bit bigger than this, but the I didn't protect it, and we had that -8 for, well, -5 for 2 weeks with a -8 a couple of times, and that did the fronds in, which burnt them all off. But it's regrown, as you can see, and it's been under the Tetrapanax leaves all summer, so didn't have too much. The Willemi survived all right there. That'll be going in the ground there. The monkey puzzle, which is tied into the middle bed, we'll get onto in a minute. But otherwise in here, oh yeah, I forgot to get the lights out. I have actually bought the 2 lights, so my next job, or one of many of them, is to stick them on the fence, do the wiring behind so it's all sorted, and then I can finish that trellis. And then in here, the sort of messy back right section, I'm going to put a Clematis armandii in there. I nearly bought one a minute ago actually. Put the Clematis armandii in there, and then where that monkey puzzle is, or in and around it, I'll probably put the canna in there, just because it'll give me some nice instant height for this summer. I could even put the, no, don't worry, I'm thinking on my feet here. But what I'm going to do, that to the left of the monkey puzzle, that Lamatia ferruginea, which is a kind of got ferny foliage, but it's a kind of small tree shrub, but it's quite tall one. So when I take the canna out there, I'm going to pop it directly behind the middle of that bench, and then to the left of that bench behind it, I'll put a Clematis armandii again to come up and reach this one when it climbs over the waterfall. Then in the bench, that Lamatia ferruginea, and then just down in that little section that I was just on about, just move them around a little bit. So that thing will be coming out. The monkey puzzle will probably stay in the pot, but I'll move it and then put the canna in somewhere. This Blechnum Chilense, looking really good, really nice, but bulletproof, nice leathery, nice green. So yeah, if you ever see one of these, worth getting. You can see it runs off, it's run off to the right there in front of the Lamatia. So what I'm going to do is chop that runner off and put it in the middle bed, in the space of that Erythrosora, and then I'll pretty much just leave that run all the way around that flower middle bed, I think. When it comes to the climbers, you can see the hydrangea there, the Pilostagia verbenoides on the right, that's doing all right. We've got a little bit of new growth coming out here and there. And then the Schefflera Taiwaniana, this looks, I just like the sort of I can't think what the word is, but the form of it, it just looks nice, where it's like really thin at the bottom, obviously with it just being the trunk or the stem, and then it comes up and then bushes out, and then these leaves sort of overhang. It's got a real nice thing to it. Sorry about that, someone rang me in the middle. That's never happened before, so I wasn't sure if it was going to start recording again. But yeah, the Schefflera looks good. We'll get on to that in a minute. Over here you can see the Cyathea, the old fronds have all browned off. However, the centre bit is alive. New crozier coming up there, and this is a bit of a telltale thing about these. Now, I wanted the Cyathea Cooperi because they're evergreen, but what I've noticed is probably a flaw with that is the Cyathea Australis, which we looked at right at the beginning. They're actually deciduous, and I was thinking that they would drop their fronds like some of the other ferns in sort of November, or go all scruffy, and then you know, go like that. But the thing that's happening now is, we'll see with the other one, is that these have all been browned off. It's survived and it started throwing up new fronds now. It just continuously froze them up, and obviously we're going to have some more bad weather here, so they're going to get frozen off. So it might be better actually putting in Cyathea Australises, and then it would stop growing over winter and then only start again in the summer, like a sort of Dixonia, if you like. But yeah, that's just something for me to ponder. What I've worked out as well is that these Cyathea Cooperi are more of a supplementary plant. I can't rely on them for anything, because obviously it's going to do this pretty much every winter, but as something that, if there's a base there already for it to just shoot fronds out in the summer, that I can take that. See the evergreen again, 7 or 8 every day of the year, is that Polysticum Herrenhausen, the big fern to the left of the Cyathea. And then the Fatsia is doing all right. I'll be interested to see how this one goes this year, because obviously one of the trunks died last year. You can just see I've snapped it or cut it off halfway up down the bottom there. So I'll be interested to see how this actually grows. See the fig tree there, bottom of that. That small cheese plant did not like the cold weather. Again, got another Cooperi Cyathea throwing another frond out just before we're going to get another frost. These two ferns either side of it need to size up again, so we'll have a look at them in the year. The Hydrangea Samanii is doing all right behind there as well. Just see him tucked up against the fence, so we'll leave him. Fatsia is the Fatsia. Dixonia is doing all right. I did chuck a load of leaves in there, but I put a bit too much in there, and then when I pulled them out the other day, half of them, there was loads of worms and stuff down in there. So I'm not sure if that's good or not bad, but hopefully the worm excrement is feeding the plants. Finally, we got this Cyathea. So yeah, even the covers have obviously made a slight bit of difference. There's a little bit of green on some of these fronds, but not enough. And that frond there was directly under the cover, and it still didn't survive, if you see what I mean. So yeah, again, use it for supplementary. We're going to have a real test now over these 2 weeks, because I'm not going to cover this plant up next time. I'm just going to leave it with the coil and see if that frond that's coming up, that crosier, survives. So yeah, do or die, because that looks like it's going to be an absolute chunk, that one. So yeah, be ashamed if it did, but it would be interesting to know. Otherwise, yeah, these are kind of okay. The Nephrolepis up here doesn't have any signs of life. That's the really obviously exposed one. The ones that are down here sort of are showing a bit of life now. They were the same, but you can see that's got a little bit of green coming out of it, and so's that one there. So yeah, you may or may not have noticed, that's probably not the right way to look, you may or may not have noticed that I've taken down the pergola. That was just because it's all there on the right, you can see it under the window. That was because someone came along, had a look at it when I was here. I just showed them it, and they were like, oh, have you not screwed it down yet? And I was kind of like, oh no, do I need to, thinking that these bits of wood are so heavy they're not going to go anywhere. And he sort of looked at me in that quizzical look and was kind of like, if you say so. And then that put a bit of doubt in my mind, and obviously we had 40-50 mile an hour winds, and I just thought they're not going to go anywhere, but for the sake of 3 minutes pulling them all down, I may as well, just in case. That one that's still there is jammed in there, I can't get them out, so that's probably where the water's got into the wood and made it expand a little bit. So my next thing, you can just see this wood all down here. I'm going to finish off this side of the pergola, just put the cross struts running in just so it's ready to put the roof on it. That's my next thing. And then another medium sort of turn thing is just sort out all these utilities, because I don't, now I've rejigged it around, I don't need that rig that I've put at the top there with the hose pipe connector on it and the tap and all that. I don't need any of that, so I can get rid of all of that. That opens up the space a little bit, and then just where all the pipes come through and the wires and whatnot, I'll just tidy that up. And then in line with putting the lights on over by the Tetra Panax, I will put the cable into a switch and then run it in trunking around here when the pergola's in, and into that switch there. And then I can have lights at the back and see what's going on with that. So yeah, that's my next mission for there. Still got a few more things to do, like the trellis behind the bamboo, as always, edging all those octagons over there, those 3 octagons, do the plant sort of stuff. give it all a bit of a tidy, give it all a nice big mulch, and then that'll be me in good stead for the new year. So yeah, finally I've solved the conundrum, the middle bed conundrum. What was messing me up really was that I couldn't get out of my mind how big those monkey puzzles get, because it's a weird one, because and also the form of them, because when they're young they look definitely a bit more Christmas tree-y, which is the exact opposite of the effect I want. I kind of want them thin at the bottom and then going out at the top, sort of like a tree fern or a palm tree or something like that. And then also they do look good when they're older, as in they do end up looking like they got the trunk, and then you end up with kind of, it looks like a kind of mushroom on the top almost. But of course that's when they're 10-20 meters high. So it's going to be a bit OTT for there. And yeah, so I did knock it on the head, that idea, but the plant, which you may have already guessed is the one that's going to go in there, I'm going to dig those bananas out and put in a Schefflera Taiwaniana and try and grow it as a specimen tree rather than a shrub. I think that ticks all the boxes because it's evergreen, it can take a dig. If I can get it to grow up in the next 10 years up to the height of the bananas in a one trunk, then I can nip the top off it and let it bush out at the top, and it looks really good from underneath a Schefflera. So yeah, and then I can supplementary plant around it with smaller tree ferns, and it'll act as a bit of a shelter and a shade for them as well. So yeah, I'm going to do that. The only question I've really got is, do I do it now, as in the next couple of months, or do I give that clump of bananas one last time in the sun, and have them in there for this year, and then take them out and plant the Schefflera at the end of the year? Yeah, undecided on that. I kind of want to get it in the ground, but then because I've seen them through this year, I may as well see them through for another 5 months and then just put it in, so I don't have to deal with this next winter. But yeah, we'll see what we'll do. I'll try and get hold of one. I'm in no particular rush, but if I happen to see one that looks good, I will buy it, and then we will go from there. So yeah, plenty to crack on with. Gonna sort out the back as well, clear all that out and expose it, measure up, and we'll get this waterfall on the go as well. So yeah, hopefully next video will be the pergola is done and dusted. Then by then I would have shut everything down, chopped everything down, it'll all look nice and neat and tidy, and I'll try and get hold of a few plants in the meantime and chuck them in there. So yeah, hope everyone's having a good one. I'll see you on the next one.